ladies and gentlemen. We are here with AJK36
and Cromathos.
bringing you another level up video with Cromathos's solo interview.
Yeah, why not? We can go ahead and call it a solo interview.
Solo?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, we're going to be asking Cromathos some questions and just getting the insight on him and how he kind of started with gaming and then move up to the company and
what we're going to end up doing with it, yeah.
Exactly. So, I guess, how long have you been gaming?
That is actually a really long time. I think my first video game I played in about 87. It was the NES. And it wasn't Mario, it was Friday the 13th. Back then it was like an 8-bit game, but the music and the feel, the first time that I played it was at night over at a friend's house. They had gone to sleep and I couldn't sleep. So I ended up playing that one and I stayed up all night. I remember staying up all night trying to beat the stupid game. And it was a scary freaking game too. I was like 9 at the time. But that was the first game that I played. And then I started to figure out that games really do influence mood. So that's actually what's kept me playing games since then, is I've realized at a very young age that depending on the game is going to influence the mood that you're in.
Definitely. One of the things that kind of stuck with me that you've said is that you play games based off of how you're feeling. So when you get home from work, you play an action game that you can destroy things, and then once you've calmed down a little bit, you'll go into a more creative mood.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually something that my wife and I actually do. She did end up asking one time years ago. She asked, "How come you play games all the time?" And I'm like, "It's the best way that I've found to de-stress. I'm not a heavy drinker. I don't yell. I'm a fairly quiet individual, but I do have those, that built up pressure. So yeah, I'll go ahead and jump on Call of Duty, Battlefield, blast a couple of dudes in the face, and have a merry old evening after that."
Definitely. Well then. And then, I mean, I guess that answered the next question. What really got you into gaming?
Right, yeah. And the other thing that I really do like about gaming is the escapism of it. There's been a couple of games that have actually really hit an emotional, an emotional string, and I can't help but get emotionally invested in a lot of the video game characters. I read a lot, and I'm also very emotionally invested into a lot of the characters that I read on. So the same thing really with video games. I've always been a strong proponent that video games are art, just like movies are art. So yeah, I mean, I keep on playing really to find the next game that'll move me, that'll influence me in some way.
Alrighty. So what would you say are your top 5 games?
So I've actually been thinking about this. For sure, it's going to be Metal Gear Solid. That would probably be number 5. The PS1 version. I really did end up liking that one. The mood that it set. I remember stressing out over the battle with Psycho Mantis. The funniest thing is that the way you have to beat Psycho Mantis is you literally end up unplugging it and you plug it into port number 2. And that's how you actually beat that stupid character. But I spent countless hours on it. I couldn't get past it. I stopped playing it for a while, and then I came back, and by total accident, I figured that one out. So, just for the time investment, Metal Gear Solid would be number 5. Number 4, let me see. Number 4 would probably be Final Fantasy. So yeah, I'm playing Final Fantasy the remake, Final Fantasy 9 remake. I actually like the original.
Yeah.
That one has a lot of story, but I also have another game that's almost like Final Fantasy. It's called Star Ocean. Star Ocean is another RPG. I think I would probably put Star Ocean at number 3. That one, the world is huge and it's vast, and the crafting system is ridiculous. The music is something that I really like. For number 2, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I would probably put Skyrim at number 2. As you can tell, I really like RPGs.
No, definitely. Well,
um,
you stated that you like the story driven,
right,
so it
yeah.
would make sense that.
Yeah, and really Skyrim, I really liked the vanilla Skyrim, and once Sony ended up adopting mods, Skyrim was the first game that I've ever played with mods. I'm not a big PC gamer. It's usually been mostly consoles, but the mods ended up adding this extra level of realism to the game. And then probably my top game, and they've remade this one, but I like the original one, and that is Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus for me was that game that ended up really solidifying that opinion that I have about art and games. The remake, there's a lot more detail to it. If you look in the distance on the game, you can actually see a lot more detail. In the original one, if you look in the distance, it was all foggy. And Shadow of the Colossus, the very first one, I love the story of it. You think you're playing the hero, in reality, you're actually playing the villain. And at the end, I actually teared up a little bit because of the twist that it has at the very end of it. I want to play the new one. I ended up downloading off of PlayStation Plus, and I'm going to play it. I'm just not sure if I'm going to end up enjoying it as much as I did the first one. But the first one I played, I don't know when it came out. It was well over a decade ago. So looking forward to that one.
Well, that sounds good to me. That was a very detailed list. I mean, like I said, it kind of makes sense that it would be RPG story based
Right.
driven. But moving on to the company side of things, what started the company's idea?
So I was on an image sharing site, Imager, and I never really thought that an arcade would be something that I would be into. Obviously, as a teen, I would actually go to this arcade. It was called the Nickel Palace. They had cabinet games, so they had the big, tall games. And this was in the mid '90s, and literally for $5, I can spend the entire day there. I never thought that's the direction that I wanted to go into, as far as gaming and all of that stuff. But on Imager, I ended up finding really another company. Obviously, this one is also Level Up, but this one is based in Atlanta. And I ended up talking to the owner of it, and he clued me in as to one how cheap it can be to start it up. He had a couple of advantages on it. And the second one, he's doing something that he really, really loves. Normally, as you know, I do taxes.
Yep.
I really do enjoy doing taxes. I've been doing it for so long, and it's not something that I thought I really wanted to do. So with games, I know that I've always loved games. I just never knew that that was something that I wanted to get into to make money from. So it was that level up thing in Atlanta that I saw on Imager that really kind of clued me in that, hey, this can be an actual viable business. And I've always enjoyed working for myself. I've had other small businesses, and I enjoy that freedom. So I think this is the next natural step in a career. I hope to be doing this for another 20, maybe 30 years.
Right. Well, and kind of a little off topic, but bringing up the name Level Up.
Hmm.
When you came up with that name and like it being connected to the Georgia
Hmm.
one, what kind of made you stick with that name?
So it really is funny. In every game, there's always a reward system.
Yep.
And playing Super Mario, when you get an extra life, it's a one up. But in everything else, whenever you end up, well, basically being promoted or anything else, you level up. Playing D&D, you level up. So level up is really that next stage in your current character.
Right.
And I do feel that for me personally, level up is the next stage in me as an individual. Even though, yes, I do admit that there is, that the name itself wasn't original to me, I really do like the meaning behind it. That meaning for me means something else than maybe what the guy in Atlanta ended up doing.
Right. All right. Well, that is a really nice little tidbit. Sorry to throw you under the bus there, but
no, that's fine.
It hit me, and I was just like, I kind of want to know. Alrighty. So, what are you looking forward to most coming from the company? Obviously, you stated that you're wanting to level up,
Right.
but what else are you?
So from there, all right. So I've managed tax offices for the better part of a decade. Managing for me is really that extension of who I am as a person. So one of the things that I really want to do is get a diverse group of people and meet their needs, not just their needs working, but their personal needs. Obviously, I'll have family going there, family working there. My kids are already adults. They're going to college. I want to be able to meet their needs as college students, and then after that, I want to be able to meet their needs as adults. Same thing with you. I want to be able to meet everybody's needs. I want to be able to have everybody shooting off of all cylinders. I want everybody to always want to give 110%. One of the saddest things that I've seen is companies that I've worked with, the employees are so demoralized. They come in just for the paycheck. They come in because they need to work. I want people to come in because they want to come in. I want to be able to have conversations outside of work about work and it not turning into what we grown-ups call a bitch session. I obviously there's going to be things that are going to go wrong, and we'll go ahead and discuss those. But I don't want every discussion that we have outside of work to be just complaining about everything that you don't like. So with the team that I'm getting together now, all of you guys are way younger than I am. So you guys end up bringing in that young, fresh energy. But the cool thing about it is that you guys aren't filled with decades full of scorn that you guys have picked up at other companies. So if I'm able to meet all of those needs, I will go ahead and consider the company a success, regardless of how much money it makes, if it makes any. If I can meet your guys' needs, that makes it all worthwhile to me.
Well, just get me tearing over here. That's cool. Whatever. All right. So with that being said, and heartfelt, are you excited about the direction the company is heading?
I am actually. So obviously, just by looking at our little setup here, and I'll go ahead and describe the setup to the people watching the video. Um,
I'll take a picture of it.
Right. The setup that we have now, even though it's rough, even though it's all kinds of hood, these are the stepping stones that we're going to end up building a good company from. I'm noticing everything that we're doing is we're improving little by little. But that's the thing is we are improving. So, right now we have cheap mics. What right now we have affordable laptops. Right now we're editing with free programs. That's fine and dandy. We're doing all of this out of our homes. We go and do stuff over at your place. We're doing this here at my place. That's fine. Enjoying the fact that we're putting roots down at home. What I'm looking forward to is when the trunk begins to pop up. Once we're able to afford the actual equipment, better mics, better sound system, better editing system, better PCs. I'm looking forward to making those purchases, but more importantly, using the stuff that we actually need for better all of this stuff.
Right.
And
better
also,
content.
yes, for better content. And also one of the things that I'm really looking forward to is getting sponsorships. Doing taxes, I was actually able to work out deals with a lot of neighboring businesses. For instance, I would go to one of the restaurants. I would ask them, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Would you mind catering our next meeting for free?" And at first, they kind of look at me like, "Come on, really?" And then I let them know, I'm like, yeah, so here's what I'll do for you for free. I will go ahead and do your taxes for free, and then however many people it takes to match dollar for dollar what you're giving us. And that way I gain a few new clients, and then that way they gain a service that they would otherwise have to pay for. If I can go ahead and take that pressure from them, some of those are still relationships that I'm even doing now, even though I've moved from one office to another because the company says, we want you here, we want you there. I still keep all of those clients. They're paying clients now. But that's something really that I look forward to, especially doing this. This is such a weird kind of thing. I keep on looking at videos of old YouTubers where they started, and then that pivotal moment where they make a deal with somebody and they're able to purchase new equipment and all of that stuff, and then the quality of their content improves. That's actually something that I'm really looking forward to, is the quality of our content improving. Not saying that the quality now is garbage, but as you can hear,
better.
the echo and all of that stuff, and it's stuff that we've talked about off of this thing. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to, is really that next growth of what we're going to end up doing.
That's very well put together.
Yeah.
All right, so talking about next steps and all that, where do you see the company in 1, 5, and 10 years?
Okay. So in 1 year, I want to be able to have doors open. First of all, by 2021, I want there to be a physical location for Level Up Gaming Center. I want it to be here in Goodyear, and I want it ultimately to have a spot where we can have a dedicated space for us to make these videos, and then also by then we'll know exactly what type of business it is that we want. We'll go ahead and travel around and go to other gaming centers, see how they do things, and we'll copy what we can. We'll go ahead and create new stuff that we can, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. In about 2 years, I want to be able to have these videos monetized on YouTube. As you know, they've actually changed their whole monetization policies. We have to keep everything content friendly. We have to do things a certain way. So we have to jump through those hoops, and then add an additional stream of revenue through YouTube. In about 5 years, I want to be able to begin the process of finding and sponsoring an esports team. Since I know that this is going to be something that eventually we'll get into anyways, that's really what I want to do. In 10 years, I want to have that esports team already alive for 5 years. And then in about 10 years, if we can, probably franchise, probably move to the other side of town, or to a neighboring city. If we can actually have at the very least 2 locations that are fairly profitable, there you go. I'll go ahead and consider that a success. Do I want it to be as big as Disney? No. Does it need to be? Absolutely not. As long as, again, we go back a few questions ago, as long as I can still continuously meet the needs of my employees, the needs of my family, that's good enough for me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Once again, tearing up, but whatever. So, with that being said, what's next for us? What's next for the company?
Okay.
How are we moving forward?
So one of the things right now that I am really keeping tabs on is the pandemic, is the numbers. Sadly, some governmental agencies are not reporting the numbers. Like for instance, I need to know where we're at as far as infection wise, as far as how many people are currently, newly infected. As I spoke to you before, here in this city, in Goodyear, we started getting more infections. Sadly, my wife ended up losing one of her people at work.
Colleagues?
Yep, a colleague due to this. So the one thing that I don't want to do is open up in the middle of it.
Right.
Because then that's just not going to be good for anybody at all.
No.
Meeting people's needs or not, it's not going to matter. So I'm thinking of pushing back the opening until maybe at the start of next summer. As we ended up mentioning on the first video, I want it opened this summer, but that is just not going to happen at all. The last thing that I want to do is have a whole bunch of kids crowded in one place, and every single one of them getting sick because 2 kids were sick. That's not really what I want to do. So that's our plans, or at least my plan for opening this up for now. The other thing is we just ended up finishing our filing for the ACC, the Arizona Corporation Commission. So our LLC is now an actual official thing. Right now, I just got to go ahead and send off for the articles of incorporation. Once I get that done, then we can go ahead and start seeing about loans and all of this other stuff. And then from there, we get to apply for our EIN, our employee ID number. You can think of that as the social security number for the company. And once we end up getting all of those, we'll be fully 150% official. We'll be able to actually run this as a company instead of, a couple of guys putting out YouTube videos.
Right.
So After we end up getting all official and all of that stuff, we'll go ahead and ask for one small loan, get better equipment. That was part of the question right before this. That is really what we want to be able to do, and be able to afford better equipment and a portable studio if we actually can. Those things we can actually do. And then from there, once we end up getting that stuff done, we'll be able to again improve the quality of the content and all of that good stuff.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just follow us on all of our social media platforms, and also one of the things that I forgot to mention before is I will also be posting updates of how the business itself is actually moving.
All right.
How the meeting with the bank went, how a meeting with the lender went, how the meeting with the real estate agent went. I also want to do this almost like a mini series of opening up a small business.
I mean, that'll be useful for anyone else trying to do what we're doing.
Yep, exactly. And this is, not one of those, hey, no, it's mine type of things. No.
We're in this together.
Yes, we are that, and also this type of business is very centered on where you're at. So you can have one on the east side of town, you can have one on the west side of town, north, south, and even some in between. The Phoenix metro area is fairly large, so you can fit a whole bunch of these places there. So yeah, that's really it.
Alrighty. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, ring that bell, and we'll talk to you in the next one.
See you later.